Good morning, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today is Friday, March 3rd, and the moon is in Cancer. It stays in Cancer until it moves into Leo. What time does it move into Leo? I think a little after 10 in the morning here on the east coast of the U.S. Its last aspect that it makes is in opposition to Pluto. Previous to that, a few minutes before that, it made it in conjunct to Saturn early in the morning, though. So the moon in Cancer is very sensitive. Pluto, Saturn, not so much. So we sort of leave that Cancer moon with a real sense of, I think, maybe just on some level how challenging life can be, or maybe has been. But we still are here. So no matter how challenging, we persist, don't we? We have so the energy, of course, goes from some like internal, sensitive, introspective to once the moon moves into Leo, we come out of our crabby shells and we start expressing away. So we've had a few days to think about what we've wanted to say with the moon in Cancer. And now with the moon in the sign of self-expression, chances are you're going to get an earful today. But of course, or you can give an earful today, of course, but it does not have to be negative in any way. We do have Venus make a conjunction to Chiron today. Venus and Chiron are both in Aries. At the end of next week, we're going to have a Jupiter-Chiron conjunction. And so as the planets move through Aries, they will make a conjunction to Chiron, because Chiron spends a number of years in Aries. And of course, I've talked about this in the morning many times. Chiron in Aries, the wound of identity, the wound of masculinity, the wounded masculine, the wounded warrior. Here in my part of the world, my sister-in-law's sister-in-law, who happens to be a friend of mine, husband, was suffering from PTSD from his time in, I believe he was in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he couldn't take it anymore, so he took his own life, like many of our wounded warriors do. And because I know her and I kind of know a little bit about his story, when he got back from the war, he did lose friends. He did, see some action, as it were. And he felt guilt, survivor's guilt, but he also felt really bad about what was being done to the people in the country that he was in. And he never could really deal with that. And it's been a long, difficult journey. And now he's at rest. But unfortunately, he's left behind a wife and 2 young children. And it's a tragedy that we have to ask ourselves, does it need to happen, right? So with Venus in Aries, we're going to be looking at that. I mean, with us, Chiron in Aries, we're going to be looking at that. And Venus, in a way, kind of brings it home, because Venus is a personal planet. And in Aries, it's about, what do you want to do with yourself? And he couldn't take the pain anymore, so he did what he did. But, we all have a choice. So we'll send the family love and light. Thank you very much, because I know as I say this and you hear it, you're just pouring light on them. Thank you. And then we also have, actually, today, we have Saturn make a semi-square to Pluto. Now, what does that really mean? Well, a semi-square is a 30-degree aspect. So it means that Saturn and Pluto are 30 degrees away from each other. This is Saturn moving away from Pluto. This is the first aspect, albeit minor aspect, that Saturn and Pluto has made since their conjunctions in 2020. So in 2020, we had the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto right around the time, of course, of the outbreak of COVID. And since then, of course, Saturn has been gradually moving away from Pluto because Saturn moves faster than Pluto. It takes Saturn 30 years to go around the sun. It takes Pluto 248 years to go around the sun. So Saturn gets, Saturn in the foot race, Saturn is winning. In the end, by the end of it, Pluto always wins, right? The big guy always wins. Anyway, this is 30 degrees would be Taurus, where we find the sign of Taurus on the natural zodiac. So the energy of Saturn and Pluto are starting to congeal, to coalesce, to create foundation. So all those experiences we had in 2020 through 2020, 2021, 2022 are starting to coalesce into a foundational step for self-responsibility, because Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn required us to be responsible for ourselves, and in being responsible for ourselves, we are responsible to other people. So that is coming to a point in its cycle with each other where things are getting sort of planted, seeds are being planted, and now the next few years it's about nurturing those seeds and seeing what comes up. Making a blueprint for the future as we try to escape the ghosts of the past. All right, guys, have yourself a wonderful day. Like and subscribe if you would. Check out my Astrology and Kabbalah of March. I noticed not a lot of people watching that yet, but it is kind of long, so I apologize. But there certainly is a lot to say. Check out my Taroscopes if you haven't. You check out your sun, moon, and rising sign. I'm going to be doing a moonshine episode with Ona today, so you can keep your eyes peeled. She'll probably put it on her channel, Ona's Tarot, later today. She works on the weekend, so she has to get that all done before she has to go work in the real world. Luckily, I haven't had to do that yet. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care. Namaste.